Welcome aboard the cosmic journey that is the Spirituality with Ashley podcast, where we dive deep into the mystical realms of metaphysics and spirituality. I'm your host, Ashley, a certified Akashic Records reader and energy healer and trained psychic medium. You're in the right place if you're ready to expand your consciousness and unlock the wisdom and insights that light up our path of self-discovery and growth. Come along with me on this journey of exploration. I was going to say explanation. It is a journey of explanation and exploration where the universe speaks and we listen with open hearts. Let's dive in. Today, we have a truly special episode lined up for you. Whether you've been listening since the beginning, all 17 episodes, or are new to our community, I'm so glad you're here. As many of you know, I'm super passionate about sharing knowledge, education, and inspiration through the incredible world of spirituality and metaphysics. From Akashic Records readings to psychic insights and emotion code healing sessions, my goal is to open up these transformative experiences to as many people as possible. Today, I'm thrilled to welcome a very special guest, Danielle, who has graciously agreed to share her spiritual journey with us. Danielle has experienced some really cool shifts through a few sessions we've had, and I believe her story will really resonate deeply with many of you. So in this episode, we're going to dive into Danielle's personal journey, exploring some of the pivotal moments that led her to seek spiritual guidance. And we'll hear about her experiences with her psychic reading that she had with me. And if we have time, maybe her emotion code healing sessions, if she feels like that's pertinent, and potentially go over the impact that these practices have had on her life. So get comfortable, open your hearts, and let's embark on this inspiring journey together. Without further ado, let's welcome Danielle to the show. Hi.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. Oh my God, what an introduction.
How are you doing? How are you feeling today?
Whew, feeling good. Feeling good. With
Good.
that introduction, you can't help but feel good.
So we're actually friends, and we met in a business program that we're not going to get into on this episode, but we met in a business program. And I, to this day, swear that the reason I joined that program was so that I could meet you because you were one of my dearest friends. And it happened so fast and so seamlessly. It was wild. So I'm super excited to have this conversation. I'm so thankful that you are open to sharing your experiences. Speaking of which, would you mind sharing a little bit about what you do and your spiritual journey to the
Yes, absolutely. Well, first of all, you're so right. We did become friends so quickly, and it felt so seamless, like you said. And I think just the genuine conversations we've had about spirituality and about opening up the heart space has led to deeper connection with you and with other people that I've noticed that it's kind of like you're jumping a new timeline every single time we speak
Yeah.
and really discovering more of who we are through our conversations. Like I discover who I am more through you talking to you.
I love that. Oh my gosh, I've never thought about it like that, but yeah, that's true. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. That's an epiphany. Like, that's so true. Okay, that hit me out of nowhere. Sorry, I'm like processing that now. Like, huh, I love
Like,
that.
doesn't that make sense though? Like it's like
Yeah.
where the experience that I've had with you and just speaking with you, whether it's a session or not,
Yeah.
has allowed me to understand myself on a whole new level.
Same. And I also appreciate that. I feel very seen and like
Mm,
heard when we're having conversation. Like no matter what it's about, it could be the most superficial thing or getting really deep. And yeah, in that space, I also feel like I have learned so much more about myself.
yeah.
That's so interesting. Thank you for that. Thanks for
It
providing
almost,
that kind of space.
yeah. And it almost feels like there isn't a difference. Like we're almost learning that it's like we are one based on our experiences.
Yes. Yeah, because the parallels are kind of wild.
Yes. Yes. Okay. But sorry, what was your
Yeah.
initial question?
Spiritual journey.
Oh, yeah, 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 that. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
what's
it's
your
just that,
spiritual
right?
journey been like?
Oh my God. So my spiritual journey started when my mom was diagnosed with cancer. Renal cell carcinoma was what it
Oh,
was
wow.
called in 2017. She was diagnosed Christmas Eve 2016 and then died 81 days after March 15th, 2017. And I knew I could either go one way or the other. And that other way was leaving this earth any way I could,
Wow.
because the pain of losing one of the closest people, the closest person in my life,
Yeah.
um, and not having a mother figure to rely on, to love on, was very, very difficult. She was my best friend, but we couldn't call each other friends because we were mother and daughter.
Yeah.
But that's what started it and started the process. I sold our houses. I was able to get a small inheritance and take 2 years off of work, quit my job, and literally locked myself in the house and said, okay, what can I do? I hired a coach who brought me through grief, and still sometimes continues to bring me through grief, because as you know, it's a never ending journey
Yeah,
of,
man.
of, of again, knowing yourself and knowing your limitations and knowing who this version of you is without that love.
Yeah.
And so I had to take a second and go, okay, I'm safe, I'm here, and I'm loved, and I'm okay. I'm okay. At the end of the day, I'm okay. And of course, that spiritual journey started with definitely ups and downs, and it's gotten easier from there. It's the perspective shifts have been
Yeah.
easier. Feeling emotions have been easier. Understanding myself has been easier. Understanding why I get upset has been easier. And I think that that understanding brings on a lot of responsibility, but it brings on a lot of bliss at the same time.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my gosh. So I have a few things that I want to add to what you just shared, which is again the parallels. Like, so the passing of your mom. I really
Mhm.
want to start saying the transitioning because like we've been taught that death is a bad thing. Like her
Yeah,
soul is still around, it's still there, it's just her physical body. So and I'm not saying that to like trivial, saying just her physical body sounded trivializing. I know you know that
yeah,
I'm seeing it that way, and I'm still trying to
yeah,
accept that about my mom. And it is helpful in a way, but sometimes I'm like, yeah, but I want her physical body here. So,
yeah.
would you say that the transition of your mom is so your mom technically was the catalyst for your spiritual journey?
That is a beautiful way to put it. Yes, yes. And it's funny because she opened my eyes to a little bit of spirituality and perspective shifts before, like as I was growing up. But it was, and always encouraged me to, hey, mom, I'm listening to this, or I feel like I hear this, or like senses kind of awakening. And she would lead me to say, you know, what will tell me more about that? Tell me more about what that means. And so she was always very
Oh,
open to
wow.
that. But at the same time, I took a whole new trajectory, right? But yes, you're right. The catalyst was when she died, was when I took her through her passing, and I felt like I went through a transition, a spiritual transition through her death, and then came out in a 3D world and
Yeah.
said, well, there is another world. There is something else.
Oh,
Well, what is that something else?
I love that. I honestly I want to do another episode where we just talk about like the transition from this life to the rebirth into another
Oh,
life and
so deep.
talk about the shift that can cause for the people the loved ones who aren't going through that shift yet.
Yeah.
Because my mom also was a catalyst for my spiritual journey while she was still alive. And then a few years later, she transitioned and I went through another huge shift
Mm,
where I've essentially just dived into deep shadow work lately. And it sounds like your spiritual journey outside, like your huge awakening, because you were on your spiritual journey when you were younger, but not in a conscious awareness of it. And
yeah.
so that shift that happened when your mom passed was like you got thrust into deep shadow work where you
Yeah.
oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Very, very deep shadow. And I didn't even know what shadow work was. It wasn't,
Yeah.
thank God I had a coach that was like, no, no, no. Okay. So we have to actually feel. We're not like thinking, we're not like pretending to be happy. We're going to be feeling the shit. Like, and one of the
Yeah.
things I remember her bringing up was like, okay, you need to feel anger towards your mom. I'm like, she's dead. I can't feel anger towards
Mhm.
like a dead person.
Yeah,
Like that's like that doesn't make any sense. And
I'm
she's like, no,
going
no, no,
through
you
that.
need to feel anger. And I know as soon as I felt that anger, I felt more relief to be able to have permission to feel. Like to
Oh my
feel
God.
whatever I needed to feel. And that was anger at that moment.
That makes
But
sense.
you don't want to be angry at dead people. It's hard. It's
Yes.
weird.
This
And you feel like, well, they don't have a say because they're dead. They
yeah.
don't have, they've already gone through their transition. They don't have a say.
Yeah,
And you're like, no, no,
exactly.
no. It's healthy. And it's not healthy just for me, but for them too, to
Yeah.
experience in another realm. Okay, she's going through her emotions, and one of them is anger, and that's a good thing.
And it's okay. Yeah, it's so I love that it's so funny that this episode is not about grief. I think it's important to bring it up and talk about it and normalize this stuff and these feelings. I'm going through that right now, the anger part of it, and it is really hard to accept. And so you saying that helps a lot because I feel like once I am able to process the anger, accept it, and really move through it, it is going to open up another realm of experience for me. And right now, moving through that is so hard that it's like I'm keeping myself from being able to experience the full range of emotions and process the whole thing or start processing it deeply because I'm so scared to feel the anger because I'm like, no, it's not fair. Like, but I miss her. So
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
man, I feel like a lot
yeah.
of people can benefit from this conversation. I'm so glad we're having this
So
conversation
much,
on the
so
podcast.
much. And we didn't even think we're like, oh, it's
Yeah.
gonna be a spiritual journey. It's like, no, 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 we're gonna be talking about grief a little bit too. Like that's
Yeah.
okay.
And I love that we're talking about it in the context of a spiritual journey because even it's so funny. I was aware that there's so much more that goes into a spiritual journey than like, oh, crystals and energy healing and let's all meditate and talk to our spirit guides. But like the shadow work and understanding yourself and feeling your feelings, like all of that is part of spirituality. It's that holistic experience of being a human, not just
Yeah,
the fun stuff.
yeah.
So I'm so
Yeah.
glad that we're talking about this. That was an amazing answer about your spiritual journey. I love that so much. Oh my gosh. I'm getting so many ideas for other episodes.
You just have to do more and more.
Yeah, seriously, you're definitely coming back on.
Right.
So man, that just threw me. Okay. So you have had a psychic reading with me, and you've also had some emotion code sessions. Would you mind telling us what your psychic reading experience was like, why you were open to it, what you got out of it, just kind of go through what the process was like, how it felt for you.
Yeah, both were amazing. First of all, I just want to start that off. Both were absolutely amazing. Second of all, so the psychic reading, I I remember us finishing that psychic reading and then going, wait, like I need the recording like ASAP. Like Ashley, like where's the recording? I must have listened to that recording like from start to finish at least 4 to 6 times. At
Oh,
least. At least 4 to 6 times because I took so much from it in the moment. But then the ripple effect of that psychic reading helped so much identify and emotion code too. But I was able to identify what was hiding in plain sight. Like I didn't see some of the hurdles, and that made it our time together, our reading, your reading with me, for me, allowed me to see what was missing.
mm,
And such a like it was like, oh my God, so obvious, but I wouldn't have thought of this, or I wouldn't have like pinpoint this. And so I'm like, okay, well, she can experiment on me anytime. We can do whatever we need to do because you are so genuine and the work you do is so genuine and it is so authentic. Um, which has helped immensely. And then the emotion code aspect to it. I remember you were like, okay, we're gonna do the emotion code. And I've heard of it before. I've heard of aspects, but and I've done one with someone, but it didn't the one that I did in the past didn't go as depth as what you did for me.
oh wow.
It was going through, okay, this is the emotion and this is where it started, and we're going to continue on, and this is the story behind it. And let's look here and here. And I could feel like as we were doing it, some of the pain points within my body that needed attention, needed a microphone, and
Oh,
needed to
wow.
be released. And so as soon as it was released, I was able to go, A, see things more clearly, B, shift into the person I wanted to be because I saw the hurdles more clearly, and identify if am I being an old version of Danielle or a new version of Danielle. That's a constant turn.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. You explain that so well. I think there's, despite, so when you're doing, just for anybody who hasn't heard of the emotion code or doesn't know what it is, there's an episode I have about it that explains it on the podcast. But for today's purposes, it's just the emotion code is an energy healing modality where you identify, and you can do it for yourself, but I did it for Danielle as her practitioner. And we did it through distance. So we did it over Zoom and then through email for the follow-up sessions, which she was not present for, but it's energy work. So it still affected her, even though she wasn't present for the session. And it's an energy healing modality where you communicate, you create a connection to your subconscious while you're awake, and then your subconscious allows you to identify and release the most important emotional baggage or repressed emotions, energies that you're holding on to that you need to release for your highest good in that moment so that you can live a better, happier, more fulfilling life. And I think that one of the most helpful aspects of that is being able to let go of the energetic vibration of stuff you're holding on to that you don't even realize you're holding on to. And honestly, it kind of ties into what you said about the psychic reading, where like the psychic reading and the emotion code both have in common is they're unearthing, like uncovering these unconscious programs, unconscious beliefs, unconscious thoughts that you're having that you don't fully realize are affecting you to the extent that they are affecting you in your life and your decision making and the way that you're showing up for yourself in your relationships in the world. And I think just being able to identify and know that those things are even there, like even if all you get from the session is like, oh, this is one of my limiting beliefs, oh, this is what I'm really thinking about myself, that can be so healing in itself just to acknowledge that thing before you even start fully like working through it or processing it. I think that's such a profound aspect of being able to get that information. And you're really getting it from yourself. Like it's all you doing the stuff. It's your higher self. It's your subconscious. Um, and I love that. And so I always want to remind people that you can absolutely do all these things for yourself. You can do a psychic reading for yourself. You just have to tune into your body, tap into like your intuition, what you're getting from the universe. Same thing for the emotion code. You can do muscle testing on yourself. Um, I'm always happy to help. So I like having other people do stuff for me so I can just sit back. So what was it like to get the psychic reading? And would you mind sharing like any like at least one example of like something you heard and what that shift was for you and how it played out in your life?
Yeah, one of the biggest hurdles was I was doing too much. And I've always heard this, but I think you allowed me to like feel this. Like you're like I'm pushing a boulder upwards where I can actually like allow to let go. But I didn't want to let it go because again, with the grief aspect, I feel like I have to be in control of everything. And
Mm.
that's not the case. That's not true. I am not in control. We're not in control. We're just doing the best we can with the situations and circumstances that we have. And you showed me, you're like, okay, so you're in the mud, you have your boots on, you're trudging through. And then one of your boots comes off and you put it back on and you're trudging through. I was just working really, 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 really hard in order to prove that I'm worth it, prove that my mom's death was justified, prove it all to myself, and I can actually just relax and enjoy life. And the more I'm relaxing, the more is coming to me, ironically. But I had to emotionally let it go, not just like relax, watch a show, but still think about it. Literally let it go and go, I don't care what the outcome is. I did my part. I'm done. I'm done. And I think that has been the biggest revelation into seeing the insights of my pain points. And looking at our session together, I love the way that you did different modalities within the psychic reading. Like you was intuitive, but it was also like I was like, okay, I want more explanation here or there. You're like, okay, I'm not getting anything personally. Let me use this modality. Let me use this. Let's get a little bit more clarification here. And so we tried different things, which allowed for more answers to come.
Yeah, we pulled out the pendulum. I
Yep.
pulled out a pendulum and used a chart because we were talking about your business.
Yep.
Yeah, and that gave
Yep.
a lot more clarity. And then once we got some of the answers, it like opened up more intuitive insight, which was, I love
Yep.
that you said that. Yeah, I don't always do that. So I love that you said that because I think that is another avenue for more guidance during sessions. I
It
love
just
that.
brought so many more answers. It wasn't like, oh, I'm not sure. I don't know. Like, and I've gotten that before in other psychic readings. It's like, well, I don't have the clarity right now. And I'm glad they're being honest. I'm glad they're not
Yeah.
like making stuff up. But at
Yeah.
the end of the day, like, it's almost like you went the extra mile to like get the answer.
No, I
Which
appreciate
is
that.
amazing.
I didn't, yeah, thank you for that. I'm trying to receive. Thank you.
You should. Oh my God, it's all you.
So for context, when you say that you were doing too much, I want to elaborate or be a little more specific about that. So when you say you were doing too much, do you mean like in your business, in your work efforts?
Yeah, all of it. So in my business, I was thinking, okay, how can I do this better? How can I meet more people? How can I get more money? How can I da 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 da, instead of allowing the universe to be like, okay, so this is the next step, and then wait. This is the next step, and then wait. And
Mm,
I totally was able to 100%, maybe not 100%, but let's say 99, 98% detach and go, okay, I don't care. Like I'll wait. I'm good to wait. This is actually nice waiting. I'm relaxed. I feel relaxed. I feel more at peace. And instead of going, okay, so like, can I grab your number? Can I grab your name? Can I grab your email? It's like, oh my God. And I'm listening to myself in the past. I'm like, just shut up. Like, just allow it to be more authentic. Allow it to be more genuine. Allow yourself to build connections. And it's not like I wasn't before, but you find a new friend, you find someone that is a great business partner, and you get so excited. At least I do. I get so excited. I'm like a golden retriever. Oh my God, hi! And so it's like, oh, okay, calm down. Someone did that to me. Like, okay, thank you. So allowing things to come naturally, and it's more my pace. I think I was also judging myself because I felt like I had to do things faster or at someone else's pace.
yes.
You don't. You don't. That's social media. You don't. You do it at your pace. And so understanding what feels good for you and what feels resonant with you is the name of the game.
I love that. That was such a great explanation. And I love that you mentioned the social media comparison aspect. And I think
Yeah.
that was one of the thoughts that you and I both had about the program was it wasn't resonating with the energy that we wanted to bring forth. It was very, very masculine. And a lot of business is masculine. Masculinity is
Yeah.
important, like having the masculine energy of decisiveness, and confidence and being able to make decisions and be outspoken. I think that those are important things for business, but I think there's an emphasis that is put on the masculine part of it in business. And a lot of courses that I have taken teach very like aggressive tactics, like reach out, get all the information from people, do all these things. And that it felt really uncomfortable for me because I was like, well, I have a spiritual reading business and I can't really reach out to people and be like, hey, do you want a spiritual reading? Because that's not how it works for me. And I think you felt a similar discomfort in having to continuously reach out to people. And would you mind talking? Usually I save this for the end of the episode, but I would love for you to go ahead and talk about like what your business is, like what is it that you do so that people can understand why like you reaching out aggressively to a bunch of people would maybe not be comfortable.
So what I do is healing your inner child. I do workshops. I am an author. I have two books. One of them is about grief. Grief is only suppressed gratitude, which was so healing to write. And then I've noticed that it has had a ripple effect in other people's life. They're like, oh my God, I'm going through this now. I needed this book. I'm reading it through, and this is my life. Like, yes, please. Like, where can I get a copy? And then I have a book, a children's book, but ironically, adults like it a little bit more because it has to do with people pleasing, self worth, confidence, and a lot of my people pleasers are adults that decided to start people pleasing because they felt safe and they felt like they needed to be in survival mode in order to get through their life. So let's please as many people as possible in order to do so.
I feel that.
And that is huge. It's
Yeah.
huge. So I use that second book, the children's book, in workshops with adults, healing your inner child workshops. And I've noticed like adults just start crying from the book, and adults like need the book. And it's funny because it doesn't matter if it's your feminine, masculine, like you need the book. Like someone literally bought this book and they were like maybe upper 30s, maybe. And they were like, is a gentleman. He's like, I need this. Like
I
I've
love that.
experienced this. I'm on a healing journey to really look at who I was before the age of 8, because that's where the trauma begins.
Oh,
And then you
wow.
cycle through the program trauma through life. So you're just looping, people
Yeah.
pleasing and noticing yourself. Okay, I'm not setting a boundary because I want you to like me, because I want to be the best that I can, and noticing this and then seeing, okay, I'm doing this right now. Is this really me? Is this really the authentic version of myself? Or am I just playing a role? So that's what we uncover together and through these workshops. And my God, love it.
I love that. And you post a lot. I love your content. You post so much. Hi, I'm Ashley. I'm a recovering people pleaser. Hi, Ashley. And I love your content. And you're mainly on Instagram, and you post so many reels about with like practical tips for like if you're feeling like this is what it means, and this is what you can do to start like unraveling some of that programming that you have just been living through, and that's been controlling the way that you act and how you feel about yourself, and that's causing
Yep.
you to act like this. And it's so helpful. I'm always like commenting the little fire emoji on your posts. It's such, and they're so digestible. I love that you're like, you are able to break down really complex concepts that I feel like take a lot of explanation. You break them down so beautifully into like a couple of sentences, and then you're like, and here, these are 3 things you can do. It's amazing. I highly recommend. Um, if you're a people pleaser, if you are grieving, if you want to work on your inner child, if you want to uncover programs you have that are that you learned in childhood that may be still affecting you, I highly recommend checking out Danielle's content and potentially contacting her to work with her. She's amazing. We had an inner child healing session and it was so helpful. I cried. I cried. It seemed so, I don't want to say simple because I feel like saying simple trivializes it, but I think simplicity is, it's not a bad thing. I think sometimes we tend to overcomplicate stuff. Like I've avoided inner child healing for so long because I was like, no, I don't want to uncover these things that I feel like I'm not going to be able to handle. But the session that I had with you was so gentle. It was such a loving, safe environment. And in saying that, I want to kind of circle back to what you were saying about the control aspect, which comes from a lack of safety. I share that similarity, and I have this lack of safety. And that's it, honestly. And I'm like getting full body goosebumps because this is such a huge revelation for me. I've been working on this a lot lately, is creating a sense of peace and safety within myself so that I'm not externally looking for it. And so I don't need to act in a way that's going to create that external safety for me because I'm creating it myself. And it's just it again, it sounds simple, like do it for yourself, but it's huge,
It's
huge.
huge. It
Yeah.
is huge. It is because we look outside ourselves. I mean, if you think about it, we've been looking outside ourselves since day one because you go to school, you're learning
But
preschool, elementary school, middle school, and it just goes
yeah,
always looking outside yourself.
yeah,
And now is the time to look within. And we're like, well, we don't A, know how to do that. A, do we feel comfortable doing that? And it's like it's a whole new world. It's a
Yeah.
whole new world, as you know.
Yeah. I love that. So I'm so excited that you're teaching about this. Oh, so your workshops that you do, are they in person? Are they online?
They are in person. So if you are in the Maryland area, whether that's Columbia, Maryland or Gaithersburg, Maryland, I also do one-on-one sessions over. If you're not in that area, I do one-on-one sessions online. And feel free to, Ashley will put my contact information. Feel free to contact me. Thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
But if you are in the DMV area, that's DC, Maryland, Virginia, please look up these workshops because they are amazing. The space is amazing, and we you have the community with you. That's why I don't want to do it online, because there's such a beautiful community physically there, and it's amazing.
I love that. I'm gonna have to visit you so I want to go to one of your workshops in person. Like
You
that'd be
should.
so cool.
Oh my God, we'd have
So
so much fun.
how can people reach you? I'm gonna put it into the show notes, but I want you to also just go ahead and say it for the people who are like, what are show notes? Where do I even go for that? Would you mind sharing your Instagram handle
Yes.
and however else people can contact you?
Yes, well, Instagram, Danielle Keen Grassi. And then feel free to contact me through my website, Keen Strategies. That's KEANSTRATEGIES.com. And my books are on there. And my books are also through Amazon too. Grief is Only Suppressed Gratitude. And then Hugging Olivia is a children's book about this girl who gives magical hugs, but she loses her power because she is people pleasing. And it's not until she loves herself that her power comes back.
Oh my gosh, I love
So,
that.
oh,
I love that so much. I still need to get those books. I'm going to do that today, especially because the way you just described them. Again, when we first had our first like phone conversation, you mentioned them. I was like, I need these books. And it was last year and I still haven't done it. So I feel like now is the time, now that I'm like really deep in the grief. Like you saying that, I was just sitting here like with my face up in the camera, like, oh my God, I need those right now.
oh my God.
Yeah.
It's it is like, especially if you are going through it, the grief you're going through it, people pleasing, like there's one gentleman who was like, there's just like sentences in this book that just like hit. And I'm like, yes, there are. I have to reread it again and again. When I go into those patterns myself, I'm like, okay, let's go back. Okay, I am seen, I am loved, I am heard. Okay, let's take a deep breath. Continue on.
I love that. I'm so excited about having you on the podcast again to talk about to really get into and focus on the inner child healing work that you do and
Mm,
people pleasing and anxiety and just the full spectrum of everything that you offer. You have such a really amazing skill set and energy. And I'm so excited about diving deeper into that and learning more from you and like sharing it with everybody. It's so helpful. We have such great conversations. And I want to share it with everybody else.
thank
No
you. And I
gatekeeping.
can't wait. It's such an honor. It's such an honor to know you, and such an honor to just learn from each other, learn from you, and
Yes.
figure this thing called life out. Like, what is this?
Together.
What is this?
Yeah. Um, okay, before we wrap up, I really feel an urge to circle back really quick. It keeps coming up so much. And I feel like my
Mm,
guides right now are like, talking about this thing again, because I didn't touch on it and I meant to, and we got swept up in like the conversation. So you said that after the psychic reading, which by the way, you listened to, I don't normally record the psychic readings, but people are free to record them. I recorded yours because we were exchanging sessions so that we could show people what the sessions look like, because I generally would not put people's sessions out there, but um without their permission. In your session that you had, you said that some of the guidance you got was that you were doing too much and to let go of that control that you felt like you needed to exert and to just kind of like let go of the reins and let go of your attachment that you had to the outcome that was driving you to keep pushing through in an uncomfortable place. And it's one thing to push through discomfort for growth, but it's another thing to live in a disresonant energy that's uncomfortable. And
yeah.
the part that I really wanted to mention was attachments. Like that message comes through so often and in so many sessions. And so I briefly wanted to touch on and talk about how you were able to let go of your attachment. Because I think it's one thing when like your guides are like, don't attach to the outcome, don't attach to this thing. And like, I feel like we have so many, like we talked about earlier, like so many beliefs we're not even aware of that we're attached to. And even though consciously we're like, I want this, I want a thriving business, I want to help people, I want abundance in money and freedom and time and fulfillment. But then we have these underlying beliefs, these attachments to these beliefs or energies that are like, no, you have to work super hard and you're not worthy because of this thing. And so how did you start practicing that detachment?
Yeah.
And then what happened? What did that look like?
So I noticed how I was feeling being attached. And I've been attached to my business and the outcome of my business for like over 7 years. And I
Whoa.
was like, this, it doesn't feel good. It never has. Like, what is this serving me? Is it serving me to stay
Ah,
attached? And I'm like, it's not. I freaking hate this feeling. And I've felt it for way too long. It's not worth it to feel this feeling. It's not good for my health to feel this feeling. It's not good for clients that I'm feeling this feeling. Freaking detaching. I don't know what I want. And like being really clear and saying, I don't know, to like open the doors to what I do want and what I do know has been so helpful.
oop, could have turned that off. Sorry about that. So I love the way you just explained that. Man, your explanations are so, they're good. They're great. I really enjoy this conversation. So when you were able to recognize what the feeling of attachment felt like, and then also realize that it wasn't actually serving you or helping you or doing anything for you. And you, in the place of discomfort, were like, okay, I'm going to try this other thing. I'm going to try this other thing my guides recommended. I'm going to, or higher self. And I'm just going to like, I'm going to let go. I'm going to do a little bit less. I'm going to do what feels like inspired action, do the things that I'm excited about, and just see how it flows and open myself up to whatever is for me.
And allowing the time it takes for the next inspired action to come to me. Actually,
Mhm.
this is a perfect explanation. So my husband and I were playing the Wii games from like
Yeah.
2013, and we were playing
Nintendo.
archery. Yeah, we are doing like the archery one. And I noticed that I was playing a lot better. My avatar was a lot better when I allowed, it was like a swinging, oh, like the archery was like a swinging target. And I was like, it needs to come to you. It needs to come to you. You don't go to it. You're not going around going to it. Allow it to come straight center back to you until you pull the trigger. And I was like, damn, I need to start doing this in my life. I need to start freaking doing this in my business, in my life. Allow it to come to you first.
Yeah. Open yourself up. Open your
Open your,
heart. Put out what
yeah,
you want
or
and then
just be
be
patient.
open.
Be
Yeah.
patient and allow, because it's sometimes you don't know what's the best plan.
Yeah.
Allow it to come to you and then say yes and then grab it. I think that's the shift is like, I'm not always going to be a masculine trying to go out there and try to catch whatever I can. I'm going to allow what needs to come to me, which is the feminine, and then I'm going to grab it, which is the masculine,
And
right when I know it's right.
you in releasing the reins and kind of relaxing into that more feminine energy of receiving,
Yes.
you created more space for your, and I use that phrase so much, but you created more space for yourself to do that. You were relaxing. I think during that psychic session, you actually got some like specific examples of like what you needed to do to relax. They were like, we love that you're doing this, but if you could do more of this and do these
Yes.
things. and
Yes.
in letting go and taking more time for yourself and allowing yourself to be taken care of, that opened up this different energy that took you away from the desperation energy of like, I have to go, go, go and work, work, work to achieve and achieve and achieve, rather than
There was no
allow.
results doing that. Yeah, exactly. There was just no results. I'm like, why the hell am I doing this if it's like it's getting me nowhere? I'm literally looping. I'm
Yeah.
literally looping here. It's just hands off. Hands off. Like, okay, do whatever. Hands off. I'm done. And yeah.
And it's so funny. I was looking at your page the other day and I messaged you about it because I was like, holy crap. Danielle's been on point with her posts. I said she posts amazing content on social media. And like I was looking, I've noticed that as you've done this shift and you've allowed yourself to receive, you've given more to yourself rather than trying to reach outside of yourself, that your posts are getting more likes. You're getting a bunch of views. You're getting a ton of views. I was like, holy crap, I love that. And I remember you
Yeah.
telling me that you're getting more engagement with you taking a step back and like not having that expectation.
It's the opposite of what they teach you. It's the
Exactly.
opposite. It's the freaking opposite. They go, 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 grind, grind, grind. No, I'm gonna put it out there, and then I'm that hands off, done,
I love
hands
that.
off.
The detachment. That's the key. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, so good. Okay, so lastly, do you have any practical tips or advice for anybody who might be listening that's interested in exploring psychic readings or emotion code sessions? Yeah.
Yes. Stay open. Do not have any, again, attachment. Don't have any expectation on how it should go, because the less expectation you have, the more you'll receive.
Love
So
that.
funny, so weird and odd, but the more you just go, I'm just going to go into this, whatever happens, happens. I have no expectation on what the result should be. You'll get so much more.
Oh my gosh, that's the most amazing tip. Yeah. Just be open. Be open to whatever the universe is going to provide for you. Because if you have expectations, you might miss the thing that's better for you than what you were
Yeah.
expecting that you thought would be amazing for you.
Yeah.
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 Oh, I learned that lesson so
Yeah.
much. Oh, thank you so much, Danielle. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences, your insights, your story with us. I really appreciate it. Readings can be very personal, and so it really means a lot that you're willing to share this information with people you don't even know. So thank you. That says so much about you and your compassion. And all right. So if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to rate the podcast, give it a follow, share the episode on social media or with a friend who you think might benefit from it. Please, if you resonate with Danielle, her energy, please reach out to her, check out her website, and stay mindful, stay focused, and keep believing in yourself. Until next time, keep dreaming big and living your best life. I will see you in the next episode.